You know, every single time you log into a website, sign up for a news service, or share a piece of your data online, you're basically handing over a little piece of your identity. But what if that wasn't the case? What if you could actually own it yourself? Well, today, we're going to unpack the work of the Decentralized Identity Foundation, or DIF for short, and its mission to build a whole new foundation for our digital lives, one that's more secure and puts you, the user, back in control.
So here's the game plan. First, we'll get into why the way we do digital identity right now is frankly a mess. Then, we'll introduce the folks trying to fix it, the Decentralized Identity Foundation. After that, we'll look at the nuts and bolts of how they're engineering a new web of trust. Check out some real-world examples of this tech in action today. And finally, we'll see why all of this is absolutely crucial for the future of AI.
Okay, let's dive right into the core problem. The way we manage our identity online today isn't just a little clunky or inconvenient, it's fundamentally broken. And it affects every single one of us, whether we realize it or not. I mean, just stop and ask yourself this question. Who really owns your online identity? It feels like a simple question, right? But the answer is kind of scary. The reality is, your identity is scattered across hundreds of different services, and each one holds a little piece of you. And that means they, the service providers, have the ultimate control over your digital life, not you.
And the scariest part? This model is just fundamentally insecure. When companies hoard all our data in these massive centralized databases, they basically paint a giant target on their backs. These things become honeypots for hackers. And the Equifax breach? It's the perfect and honestly terrifying example of what happens when one of these single points of failure gets hit. 147 million people? Just like that.
But it goes way beyond just the security breaches. This system creates a nightmare user experience with endless passwords and usernames, and even more critically, it completely locks out a huge chunk of the world's population. We're talking about nearly 850 million people who can't prove who they are online, which means they're shut out from essential digital services. They're digitally disenfranchised.
And this right here really shows the night and day difference. On the left, you've got the old model, a central castle, that honeypot of data we just talked about, which is a massive risk. But on the right, you see the new model, a distributed network where your data lives with you at the edge. By shifting from centralized storage to your personal control, the security risk just plummets. It's a total paradigm shift.
So if the old system is so broken, what's the fix? Well, this crisis is exactly why the Decentralized Identity Foundation was created.
So what is DIF, really? At its heart, it's an engineering group. They're all about building the open source tools and the common standards that we need for a whole new identity ecosystem. The goal is to take this cool-sounding theory called self-sovereign identity and actually make it a reality that works for everyone, one that's built on privacy and individual control.
And let me be clear, this isn't some brand new idea that just popped up. DIFI was established way back in 2017, and it gained momentum fast. By 2018, you had giants like Microsoft and IBM getting on board. And it's constantly evolving, bringing in new leadership like Executive Director Grace Rachmany to guide its global strategy.
Okay, but if you're going to build a new foundation, you need new building blocks. So how does DIF actually engineer this new web of trust? Let's get into the core tech that makes it all possible. It really boils down to three key concepts. First, you have Decentralized Identifiers, or DIDs. Think of this as a universal ID, kind of like a phone number, but instead of a company giving it to you, you create it and you own it forever. Second, there are Verifiable Credentials, or VCs. These are just secure, digital, tamper-proof versions of things you already have, like your driver's license or a university diploma. And third, you have Decentralized Web Nodes, or DWNs. The easiest way to think of these is like your own personal encrypted data vault in the cloud.
And here's how it all comes together in the real world. Let's say the university issues you a digital diploma. That's a verifiable credential. You store it securely in your digital wallet. Now, when a job site needs to confirm you graduated, you just present a cryptographic proof from that credential. They can instantly verify it's legit without ever having to see or store your actual diploma data. Simple.
Okay, but here's the million-dollar question. For a global system, this has to work at a massive scale, right? That's where some really clever tech like the sidetree protocol comes in. Basically, it's a smart way to bundle thousands of these little identity updates together and anchor them to a super secure public network like Bitcoin. But the key number to look at here is the throughput. An implementation called Ion can handle over 10,000 identity operations per second. That's fast enough to compete with today's big centralized systems, but you get all the security benefits of being decentralized.
So this all sounds great on paper. It's fast, it's secure. But is anyone actually using it yet? You bet. Let's look at how some major players are already using these standards to solve very real problems.
Let's take Microsoft, a founding member of DIF. They're using these standards in their Entra-verified ID service, and the results are pretty staggering. In Japan, Skype saw a 90% drop in fraudulent use of its phone numbers. Companies are seeing a 20 to 50% reduction in those expensive help desk calls for password resets. That's a real, tangible return on investment.
Or how about this one, which I think we can all relate to? Travel. The Hospitality and Travel Working Group at DIF is building a standard for a decentralized travel profile. Just imagine, you store your passport info, your seat preferences, your dietary needs once in your own secure wallet. Then you can share only the necessary bids with airlines or hotels without having to hand over all your sensitive data every single time you book something.
Now, as cool as these real-world uses are, they're really just the beginning. The foundational layer of trust that's being built today is setting the stage for what might be its most critical application yet, providing a secure identity for the coming world of artificial intelligence.
Of course, it's not all smooth sailing. The road ahead has a couple of major hurdles. The two biggest challenges right now are interoperability. You know, getting all the different systems built by different companies to talk to each other and navigating all the fragmented regulations across different countries. These are the main things the community is really focused on solving.
And this quote right here, it really captures the incredible foresight of the foundation. They're not just solving today's problems. The next great challenge and the biggest opportunity is building that identity layer for AI.
So what does that even mean? Well, we are rapidly heading towards what's being called an agentic economy, a world where autonomous AI agents will be booking our travel, managing our money, and collaborating with other AIs for us. Now, for that world to function without descending into absolute chaos, every single one of those AI agents needs a verifiable identity. We have to know without a shadow of a doubt who an agent is, who it works for, and exactly what it is and is not allowed to do.
And that brings us to the final crucial question. The work being done by the Decentralized Identity Foundation isn't just about making logins easier or preventing data breaches. It's about building the fundamental rails of trust for a future where the lines between human and machine start to blur. It's about ensuring that in a world full of AI, your identity truly remains your own.